everybody, welcome to the Comic Gaming Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to review Star Wars Visions Season 2. Now, Star Wars Visions, to me, and I've said it before, it is the best thing that Star Wars, Disney has ever done with the Star Wars IP. In fact, it's probably in the top 5 most creative things in Star Wars, period. The idea of giving the Star Wars IP or the license to do a Star Wars project and giving it to these major animation studios, that some of them legendary, from Studio Ghibli to well, specifically like Studio Ghibli to even the guys who do God damn it, Chicken Run and Ramis and Crumb. But giving the IP to these big major animated studios and letting them tell these short stories is such a cool concept. It's one of the things that I think, like, back in the day, like, Marvel dabbled with that. DC obviously dabbled with that. You got, like, Batman, Ninja, and stuff like that. When your IP's big enough, I feel like you should at least... I feel like this is a fun thing to do. I've often said that more IPs should do this. I think Disney... I think, not just Disney. Like, Disney in general, like, I think they should allow certain people to do new things to their IPs. Like, especially, like, Marvel and DC... I'm shocked they haven't done something like this before. Just let other animated studios do their own interpretation of a project. I would love to see a fucking, big time studio, like, I don't know, the guys who do, like, a big time anime studio do a Batman fucking short or something. Like, it would be really cool to see that. But Star Wars has done this, and it's not just animation. Like, it's 3D animation sometimes. It's different formats of animation. It's different palettes. And it's very cool. The first season 1 was very cool. There were some episodes in season 1 that were so good that I wanted sequels. In particular, the one that was called The Ninth Jedi. That one was like, it was a pilot episode. Like, there's a couple of them that are like that, but that one in particular, you're like, is this a pilot episode? Like, for another show? Because a couple of them felt like that. The twin, that one too, that felt like a pilot episode for an actual show. And I remember they were talking about doing it, but I highly doubt they're going to do it now. Some of those episodes I would love be spun off into actual shows. And this season didn't have any of it only had one episode that was like that, where it felt like it could have been a pilot episode. But this season, the first 3 episodes of the season, particularly 2 and 3, were insane. They were very emotionally packed, particularly episode 2, Screecher's Reach. Screecher's Reach was probably one of the best episodes of the entire series so far. It's very reminiscent of, I know if you guys watch What If, the episode of Doctor Strange. With Doctor Strange, there was this bittersweet sadness to it, and Screecher Reach had that. But the animation style and the childlike innocence that it started off with, the way they crafted it, it's only about 18 minutes, but the way they crafted it and told this full, almost tragedy, really. It doesn't start off that way. It starts off as this innocent, childlike, thing of children just, of a child who wants out of this oppressive environment. Like, sure, she has her friends and whatnot, but she wants more out of life than this. And, you see the environment, because it starts off and it shows this girl working in this, basically, child factory with friends. But, like, she still has them. But, like, they find joy in each other's company. But it's not enough for her. Not in a negative way. It's just, this is a shitty situation. And it really was reminiscent of me the entire episode, especially once it got to the end this is just me making, a parallel between how, that's how a lot of kids get involved in crime and gangster shit anyways, is they're in a hard-ass environment. It's damn near impossible to get out of. It's impossible to get out of it in any way, any legal or right way, without an incredible amount of luck. You're trying to find a way out of this situation. You're trying to find a way to better your life. And then along comes some dude, put something in your hand, and tell you can take your life in your own hands. And that's how that shit ends up happening. And they kind of made that happen, but with the Sith. Because that episode 2, the Screecher's Cave? I think it's called Screecher's Cave. I always forget that. Yeah, Screecher's Reach, episode 2. And like, because it's like this innocent thing of them just going into a cave, and the entire time you think she's just trying to be brave. But then when it all comes around and it turns out she was in contact with the Sith mother, and that she was being recruited and she was leaving her friends behind, and like the idea is like, yeah, if you're a kid in this environment and you're depressed and you're oppressed and whatnot, and a Sith Lord comes to you and tells you can get power, you can leave this place, you can have power of your own, you would go too. I know I would, like, especially if you don't know about the Sith. You don't know. And it was just this very sad ending. They had this very awesome shot with her turning around as the ship closes, and it's like, man, not only is she never gonna see them again, if she ever did, what will she be? And it was a very tragic episode. It was beautifully done, and like, it left me emotional, dude. It kind of got to me in 18 minutes, and it shows the format of short storytelling. Not everything has to be 2 hours. Not everything has to be 30 minutes. You can tell a story, an emotional story, in a matter of fucking 15 to 18 minutes, if you know what you're doing. And that's the one big thing that I love about this series, is that it shows that. I love the What If show. And some episodes work. Most episodes work. I say most episodes worked. But often than not in the What If series, everyone would say the same thing, which is, I wish these episodes were longer, because, you know, it just felt like there was more to be done, and that since you only had 30 minutes, you had to rush to whatever you needed to get to, instead of you could have took your time and set it up. But that's not the fault of, what's the word I'm looking for? The time that they have. It's the fault of the way they decided to tell the story. And I think Vision shows that you can tell short stories if you do it correctly, because they definitely did that here. And then the episode 1 and 3 were actually on the opposite side. Episode 1 was called The Sith, and it was about a Sith Lord, a princess who left her master, and, you know, trying to overcome it. And the whole episode was basically about her she couldn't find inner peace because she was trying to just pretend like she didn't have this inner darkness in her, try to pretend like she didn't have this darker side to her. And the entire episode is about her embracing both the light and dark sides of herself to defeat her old master and carve her own path. So episode 1 was very optimistic, and I love the art style. It was very unique with the way they used the painting and the artwork. It was very interesting. Episode 3 in the stars was beautiful, very beautifully done. It was more 3D. It kind of reminded me of I don't know if you ever remember that movie. Was it 9? That 3D movie with those rag dolls. I can't remember. I think it was called 9. But it had a post-apocalyptic vibe to it. That one was about the Empire had come down to this planet and just pretty much face fucked it. I mean, just for lack of a better term, because they took up all the water. They started rounding up all the fresh water. And then they started pouring their pollution into their fucking seas, so the seas are polluted, and they hoarding up all the fresh water, which is killing the planet. They killed the main two sisters' mother, and that episode is all about belief. And it's more optimistic. It's like the flip side of episode 3 in the stars, because it's about belief in oneself. Because the sister had the Force, and she had a strong connection. But after the mother died, she was afraid. She was afraid to tap into that. She was afraid to be vulnerable. And her sister kind of ended up like forcing her to be brave, forcing her to be okay being vulnerable. And in the end, they ended up saving their world in a way. Now, we know, as people who've watched Rebels and Clone Wars, mostly Rebels, that victories while the Empire is still in power is very short, because they'll just send someone else. Because in reality, they would just send someone else down there to figure out what the fuck happened and fix the problem. But in the short term, they fucking saved their planet, and it was a beautiful thing. It was very emotional. The music, that choice too. It's a haunting song they used in there. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. All this was beautiful, really. All the artwork in this season was beautiful. And I would say my third one, because the other few, other than the one done by the stop motion guys, I always forget their names off the top of my head. But was, I think it was Into the Dark Head, and that one was like that was the only one that was like a pilot episode. Into the Dark Head is like episode 6, I think it's like 6 or 5. Sorry, I always forget the order. Yeah, Journey to the Dark Head, yeah, that one was like a pilot episode. Like literally right down to there being 2 main protagonists who both were dealing with shit, who both were questioning themselves, and in them interacting with each other, going on this mission for the Jedi Order, in them interacting with each other, they discover not inner peace, so to speak, but they discover the truth about themselves. Very awesome action set sequences, and the 2 characters are very fun. The voice actors are very fun. The characters, because they're younger, feel very fun. That episode really did feel like a pilot for a bigger show. Like I say, a lot of these like season 1 had a lot more of that than this one. Season 2, only 1 episode. I'd say only 1 episode felt like it was a pilot, and it was this one. It was episode 5. All the other episodes do a great job of being very self-contained and wrapping everything up in a nice and neat bow. But I do think, episode 2, 3, and 5, I think were the strongest episodes. Episode 4 was fun. Episode 4 was fun. It was about this. It was that stop motion style that and they were trying to figure out how to do it. Like, this kid was trying to, convince his mom that he could be a pilot and shit. It was very fun episode. But this entire show is very fun. There's some emotional episodes in this show. The last episode was very emotional, about a girl singing. Like I said, it's not all action all the time. So though sometimes it could be badass action, this season, like I said, didn't really rely upon the action as much. It was a little bit more emotionally driven. Especially 2 and 3. 2 and 3 got me. I'm not gonna lie. They got me in my feels. 2 in particular. 2 was just like, damn, man, this is a tragedy, man. Like, what's gonna happen to her? What is she gonna become? Like, that innocence is gonna be just snuffed out by this training that this Sith Lord's gonna put her through. Yeah. And 3 was like optimistic, It was like a Disney animated movie level of optimistic, So overall, season 2, I think I'm not sure if it's as strong as season 1, because season 1 was just so strong with some of the fucking set piece, with some of the the animation styles just swinging so hard, but it's close. If season 1 was a 10, I'd give season 2 a 9. I don't think it's quite as good as season 1, but the studio still brought it. I hope we still get more of these. I hope, all these studios, some of these studios come back, either take a different approach or make a sequel to something. I don't know. Either way, I'm excited for it. Either way, Star Wars Visions continues to be one of the best things Disney's ever done with the IP. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Congregate Noob Show. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.